StartupHakk. I'm Spencer Thomaston, and here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers and build custom software solutions. I do a lot of work as a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology, teams, and products. All right, so let's dive into something that Linus Torvalds said. Yes, the Linus Torvalds, the mind behind Linux. He once said something that cuts straight to the heart and makes every good programmer kind of question a little bit. So let's dive into this today, and we'll get going on this Friday. All right, so we've got some new setup here, and I've got some new kinks that I'm working out. So bear with me if something's a little rough today. So we're trying to get this all worked out, but I want to dive into our topic here. So Linus Torvalds, who is definitely one of the most respected minds in computer science, right? In software development and computer science, this guy has been around the block. He has worked as a software developer for longer than most, and definitely has made an impact, as almost 50% of all the devices that are running right now on the planet are running code that he's written. So definitely something we should definitely listen to. So now, according to Linus Torvalds, the most important thing for a programmer is to understand data structures. Now, I've got 25 years in this game, and I can tell you from experience the man isn't wrong. Today, we're breaking this down into 10 points that'll have you seeing the wisdom of focusing on data structures and why it should be your number one priority. So here we go. So first one is the data structures are the foundations of all good software. So let's talk about the foundation. Picture building a house. You wouldn't start by decorating the living room before laying down a solid foundation, right? Well, data structures are the foundation for software. If your data structures are solid, everything else you build on top of, be it algorithms, systems, or features, will stand firm. So in my 25 years of development, I've seen projects with great ideas crumble because they were built on a shaky data structure. So trust me, it's worth your time to get the data structure right from the start. Now, think of data structures in the lens through which you view and solve problems. The choice of the right data structure can make a complex problem seem like a walk in the park. Whether you're dealing with massive data sets, real-time processing, or even just organizing your code, the right data structure can simplify the process. It's like choosing the right tool for the job. Bringing a hammer to a screw fight and you'll be in trouble, right? So understand how to use the right data structure is key to effective problem solving. But even better yet, bringing, instead of the hammer and the screw analogy, bringing a power drill is a whole lot more efficient than a hammer in trying to drive screws. So here's the thing about efficiency. It's not just a nice to have, especially today. It's the crowning jewel of any software application. You can have the best software application, and if it doesn't run efficiently, it's going to crumble. So what sits at the heart of efficiency? Well, you guessed it, data structures. Choosing the right data structure can reduce computational complexity, save memory, and ultimately make your code faster. This is not just a theoretical benefit. In the real world, this can be the difference between an app that is a delight to use and one that's a nightmare. So when Linus says that data structures are important, he's really saying efficiency is important. So we love to train software developers here at StartupHakk, so make sure you go back and check out our latest videos because we give a ton of good free coding samples. Yes, free, hundreds of free coding samples, so make sure you go and check those out. So now let's dive in a little bit into your system design, because data structures don't just affect your code, they also influence the entire system design. The higher up in the funnel you can solve the problem, the easier things become downstream. So this means that if you're smart about the data structures, you can simplify your system's architecture. A good data structure makes things cleaner, easier to understand, and easier to maintain. And believe me, when you've been in the trenches as long as I have, you'll appreciate the value of system design that's simple and easy to maintain. Now, your algorithms ultimately are all going to rely on the data structures you use as well, right? Algorithms are only as good as the data structure they operate on. So you could have the most brilliant algorithms, but if it's working on a poor data structure, it's like trying to run a marathon in flip-flops. It's painful and it's ineffective. So a well-chosen data structure will amplify the power of your algorithm, making them more efficient and more effective. Now, I bet you're kind of wondering, well, where did Linus say this? Because it was actually kind of interesting. I had to go back and try to find where in the world that Linus said this, because at first it wasn't super clear where he had said this, because I found a lot of people quoting it and not a whole lot of people who actually knew exactly where the quote came from. So let's see this here. So Linus actually said this way back when, and I had it written down here. I'm checking through my notes here. But I did find the original news post article where Linus had said this. And it was actually, oh, here it is. So let me drag it over here to the screen where you can see it. So we can see this was actually said. This isn't a new quote. I'm going to have to admit here a little bit that this is not a new quote, right? Linus said this a while ago. He said this, so he was actually talking back in 2006. So it's a little bit of an old quote, but it's withstood the test of time. That's the interesting point about this, right? Because here he says, easy write Java, okay. I will, in fact, claim that the difference between a bad programmer and a good one is whether he considers his code or his data structures more important. Bad programmers worry about the code. Good programmers worry about data structure and their relationships. Now, again, this is actually dating back from July of 2006. So we're going on, almost 20 years ago that he said this. So it's definitely withstood the test of time, and I think that means that this is something we should probably be studying a bit. And I like to study into these hypotheticals because, and as always, most important thing you can do for me is to leave a comment here. I love getting comments while I'm making these videos because it tells me what you guys are thinking. Do you guys think I'm wrong? Now, scalability is the holy grail of software development. If your app can't scale, it's doomed. And guess what? Data structures play a pivotal role in scalability. The right data structure can handle more data, more users, and more complexity without breaking a sweat. This is where experience comes in. You learn over time that choosing the right data structures can mean the difference between scaling gracefully and crashing spectacularly. So if you're thinking about scaling, start with thinking about the data structures. Now, as always, if you want to learn, we've got lots of great coding samples, so make sure you go back and check those out. So now let's not forget about the human element here, right? Other developers, or even your future self, will have to read your code. A well-structured data structure improves readability and makes your code easier to understand. This is specifically important as you start to work into team settings where clean and reliable code can prevent misunderstandings and reduce the time needed to onboard new developers. So in my years of leading development teams, and I've been leading them for a long time, here at StartupHakk, we really love to build software development teams. I see how a good data structure can make life easier for everyone involved. Remember, clean code is happy code, and happy code is happy developers. And we all want to be happy, especially on a Friday, right? So let's be real. Debugging is part of the job. But here's a pro tip. The right data structure can make debugging a whole lot easier. If your data is well organized, it's easier to trace bugs and understand where things went wrong. This can save you hours of frustration and get you back to building features faster. And let's all admit it, we all hate debugging. We love building new features, right? So in all my years of development, I've learned that investing in a good data structure up front pays off big time when you hit the inevitable bugs. Now, it's also important for optimizing performance. When you start to dig into it, what do you always start to dig into when you go to optimize your code? The structure of the data, right? It's what comes down to every single time. It's part of the reason I like Dapper over Entity Framework, right? And people can hate me for that, but when you really get into that, Entity Framework hides a lot of that data structure from you. And if you don't do it right, it can be kind of a big mess. So performance optimization is often seen as a dark art, but really at its core, it's about making sure your code runs efficiently. And once again, data structures are key here. A well-chosen data structure can reduce the time your code takes to run, minimize memory usage, and keep your app snappy. So whether you're working on a mobile app, a web application, or backend service, optimizing performance is crucial. And trust me, when you're trying to squeeze every last drop out of performance out of your system, you'll be glad you paid attention to data structures. It also will pay off because if you format your data structures, you're going to be able to use less computing. And by doing that, it saves you money, right? We all like more money. So, and we love here, we love money. All of us developers like to be compensated. That is one of the things we saw from the report from Microsoft yesterday, right? And if you didn't see that, go back and check out yesterday's videos. I talked a lot about that, and I'll be talking about that more here soon. So finally, let's talk about flexibility, because a well thought out data structure can make your application more adaptable to change. So whether you need to add new features, support more users, or pivot your entire business model, a flexible data structure will allow you to make these changes with minimal fuss. So in my experience, this flexibility is what separates good software from great software. And we all want to write great software, right? So it's the difference between being stuck in the past and being able to innovate in the future. So do yourself a favor and give the data structures some attention they deserve. So what do you guys think? Do you think Linus nailed it? Do you think what he said about data structures is the most important skill for a developer, or do you think I'm way off? We've walked through how data structures form foundations of software, influence problem solving, drive efficiency, and even impact your system. They're the backbone of scalability, readability, debugging, performance, and flexibility. So in short, data structures are the secret sauce that make good software great. If you want to up your game as a developer, this is a great place to start. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love having a great discussion. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers in our coding bootcamp and to build custom software solutions. So reach out because we'd love to help. Hit the links down below or go to StartupHakk.com today to check out our coding bootcamps, or StartupHakk.com/Spencer, and you can hit me up directly, whether you're looking for coaching or fractional CTO work, whatever it is, I'd love to help out. So make sure you go check out our previous videos because we have hundreds of free coding samples, and otherwise we'll catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.